Alright guys, so we have Banquo's final words here. He gives us these last words as the murderer had stick 20 trenchant gashes into his body and his son Fleance escapes. Don't forget that Macbeth has sent these murderers because Banquo knows too much and Fleance is a threat for the future. Let's look at why. So, Banquo says, "O treachery, fly, good Fleance, fly, 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 thou mayest revenge, O slave." So, treachery, let's zoom in here. Clear that this is Macbeth's work for Banquo. He's into now no doubt at this point that Macbeth has sent these murderers. He had a conversation with him earlier in the play asking him exactly where he's going to be and is Fleance going to be with him, which was kind of a giveaway really. Banquo knows he knows too much. He says thou played most foully for it when he realised that Macbeth had become king, so he knows too much and he knows that Macbeth knows he knows too much, if you know what I mean. So he knows this is Macbeth that's done this. He also knows about the prophecy that Banquo's children will become kings. So Fleance is Banquo's son, and he knows that the reason he wanted Fleance with him when he tried to murder Banquo is because he's scared Fleance will become king after Macbeth, not Macbeth's own sons. So what's Banquo doing here? Well, we've got this statement here, the repetition and alliteration of fly and Fleance. It shows his desperation, but it also shows his determination to allow Fleance to escape. He wants his son at all costs to escape. Why? Well, one, because it's his son, and of course he doesn't want him to be murdered. But two, he wants him to revenge his murder. So this is what Macbeth fears most, Fleance's revenge. He tells us this afterwards, and you can see a quotation in the link quotation box that he fears that Fleance, who's now a worm, described as a sort of defenceless worm, will grow up into be a serpent, a snake, with teeth that will come with it. So he really fears the witch's prophecy and the fact that Banquo's son Fleance will come after him. Just one final thing in this quotation then, I want to zoom in on the word slave. Okay, MacDonald is described as a slave at the start of the play. If you looked at my quotation video for that one, you'll note that. It is Macbeth himself who's described as a slave here. The word slave is a real insult at this point, and we can see that the play has gone full circle. Macbeth, the hero at the start, killing the slave MacDonald, is now described as a slave himself. Just in a really important point, just in the sort of context box at the bottom there in black, it's really important that Banquo comes out of this looking good. Why? Because James I, King of England, who would be watching this play, who Macbeth really wrote this play for, thought he was a direct descendant of Banquo. He traced his ancestry, his family, to Banquo through the Stuart line of kings, and therefore he thought he was a relative, a distant relative of Banquo. So really, really super important that Banquo comes out of this looking good, and he does here as the brave father defending his son.